Attention passionate Seattle Seahawks fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC West and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Seattle Seahawks' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Seattle Seahawks fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Seattle SEAHAWKS fans. Let's get to the news all right. Folks, strap in because what's happening right now in the NFL is nothing short of seismic. Rumors are swirling that the Seattle Seahawks might be on the verge of making a blockbuster move that could shake the very foundation of the division. And if these whispers are true, and honestly, they sound pretty serious, it could mean the Seahawks are positioning themselves not just for a playoff run, but for a real shot at dominating the NFC West for years to come. The buzz is centered around two potential trades that could transform the Seahawks' defense into one of the most formidable units in the league. And man, if they pull this off, it's going to be a statement to the entire NFL that Seattle isn't just playing for now, they're playing for the future and they're serious about contending. Let's start with the first big name involved in this potential shakeup. Jalen Carter, the interior disruptor from the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, for those who follow the league closely, Carter has been making waves since he entered the NFL. The guy is a powerhouse, a true game wrecker on the defensive line. His stats speak volumes. In 2025, he racked up 45 solo tackles, 12 sacks, 10 assists, and forced 4 fumbles. His PFF grade of 92. 5 is elite, and his pressures, 98 in total, show how consistent he is at getting into the backfield. When you compare him to other defensive tackles, it's clear he's a true difference maker. He's the kind of player who can turn the tide of a game with a single play. Carter's career has been nothing short of impressive. With 30 sacks to his name and 2 Pro Bowl nods already, he's often compared to some of the best interior defenders in the league. His ability to generate chaos, much like Aaron Donald, is what makes him such a coveted piece. In 2024, he already posted 10 sacks, and even though injuries have plagued him, shoulder issues in 2025 causing him to miss a game, he's still been dominant when healthy. It's worth noting that he's played through some injuries, logging 94% of the snaps last season, which speaks to his toughness and commitment. Now, why would the Seahawks want Carter? Well, it's all about bolstering that defensive front. Uchenna Nwasu has been a bright spot, tallying 8 sacks last season, but adding Carter would multiply that pressure. Imagine a defensive line anchored by Carter and Nwasu, consistently generating chaos in the backfield. According to sources, the Seahawks are negotiating a trade that could involve a first-round pick in the 2027 draft. An eye-popping move, but one that could pay off big time. The Eagles are in a tight cap situation, with only about $15 million in cap space for 2025, and they've got some extensions pending, like Barkley's. It's a cagey move by the Eagles to get cap relief, especially after the deal with Jalen Hurts, but for the Seahawks, this could be a game-changer. Picture this: Carter in Seattle wreaking havoc alongside Nwasu, creating pressure that leads to sacks, forcing turnovers, and strengthening the run defense. It's not just about individual stats, it's about transforming the entire defensive identity. The Seahawks' current line has been solid, but adding Carter takes it to another level. Projections suggest he could rack up 14 or more sacks this season, elevating the pressure rate by over 24%. This isn't an overstatement. This is a player who can change the complexion of the game from the inside out. Looking at the comparison with the Seahawks' current defensive tackles, Carter's presence would be a game changer. His 12.5 sacks in 2025 outpaces many of the current starters. His ability to generate pressure, 98 total pressures compared to the current group's 50, would make him a nightmare for offenses. And let's not forget, he would solidify Seattle's run defense, which has been good but could be better. His knack for collapsing the pocket and forcing quarterbacks into uncomfortable throws would turn the Seahawks into a more aggressive, more dominant defensive unit. This kind of interior pressure often leads to more turnovers, something the Seahawks have struggled to capitalize on consistently in recent years. An interior presence like Carter could boost their turnover differential significantly, potentially adding an extra 18% to their forced turnovers. And all of this feeds directly into the team's overall success. With a stronger defense, the Seahawks could reduce the number of big plays they give up, control the clock, and keep opposing offenses on their heels. Imagine a defense that's not just average, but a true nightmare for opponents, creating chaos and turning games in Seattle's favor. The optimism around Carter's addition is real. Think of how much this would elevate the team's chances at making a deep playoff run and even contending for a Super Bowl. The odds currently hover at plus 6,000, but with Carter in the fold, those odds could shrink dramatically, maybe even to plus 3,200 or better, especially if he lives up to the hype and becomes a defensive player of the year contender. Now, shifting gears to the secondary, there's buzz about the Seahawks potentially making a splash with another big-name cornerback, Sauce Gardner from the Indianapolis Colts. This, my friends, is a move that would instantly upgrade Seattle's pass defense. Gardner has been a shutdown corner since entering the league, with 55 tackles, 6 interceptions, and 15 pass breakups in 2025 alone. His PFF grade of 93.0 is elite, and his coverage metrics are outstanding, allowing only 5 yards per target and posting a coverage EPA of -0.28. That's shutdown-level stuff. His ability to erase top receivers and create turnovers would be a massive upgrade for the Seahawks secondary. The Colts are in a rebuild mode, with over $25 million in cap space, but they're also facing some struggles on the offensive line and need to focus on building around their young quarterback. A trade for Gardner, involving a first-round pick in 2027, would be a bold move, but one that makes sense given their rebuild plans. For the Seahawks, acquiring Gardner would mean locking down one of the league's best shutdown corners, allowing Tariq Woolen to roam more freely and creating a secondary that's among the best in the league. Gardner's presence would be a game-changer, especially considering his ability to match up against the NFC West's top receivers and shut down their passing games. In terms of impact, Gardner would be projected to tally around 8 or more interceptions this season, while also cutting down on completions allowed by more than 22%. His matchup against Seahawks' other top corner, Woolen, would be a highlight, with Gardner's experience and ball skills complementing Woolen's raw athleticism. This duo would make it extremely difficult for opposing QBs to find open targets, forcing them into tight windows and increasing turnovers. The Seahawks' defense would see a boost of around 20% in their turnover rate, reducing big plays and making life much tougher for opponents. This kind of lockdown secondary would not only improve their chances in the regular season, but would also be a critical factor in making deep playoff pushes. This move could also influence Super Bowl odds. Currently, the Seahawks are considered underdogs with plus 6,000 odds, but with Gardner, those odds could tighten to around plus 3,500. His ability to generate turnovers and lock down the top receivers makes him a true X-factor for the team's chances of not only making the playoffs, but making noise once they get there. The league's betting sites are already factoring in the potential impact of such a move, and it's clear that Gardner would be a cornerstone piece, elevating the entire defense and giving the Seahawks a shot at exceeding expectations. So, what does all of this mean for the Seahawks? Well, if they pull off these two trades, they would be setting themselves up as one of the most dangerous teams in the NFC. Their defense would go from good to elite, capable of taking over games and shutting down the league's best offenses. It's the kind of strategic move that defines a team's direction, showing that they're not just building for today, but planning for sustained success. Fans should be excited because, if these rumors turn into reality, Seattle's defense will be a nightmare for offenses, and their playoff prospects will look even brighter. In conclusion, this potential seismic shift in the Seahawks roster could be the catalyst for a new era of dominance. The addition of a disruptive interior player like Carter combined with an elite shutdown corner like Gardner would turn Seattle into a defensive powerhouse, capable of competing at the highest level and making a serious run at the Lombardi Trophy. The NFL is watching, and Seahawks fans should be ready for some exciting times ahead. The team's front office seems to be playing chess, not checkers, and the moves they're contemplating could define the franchise's future for years to come. And now, Seattle Seahawks fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on these potential moves? Do you believe Carter and Gardner are the game changers that Seattle needs? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Seahawks. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Seahawks news. We're in this together, and the best is yet to come.